Ladies, you want to be a cam guy? Got you.
All right, I think I'm going live now. Yeah, let me double checks. Let me double checks. Yeah, were you guys talking about dating last night? I got the tail end of that when I first.
Totally, like randomly popped up.
Oh, well, because he was talking about like Tinder, and we are talking about. It's kind of funny. We're talking about. Well, actually, it's actually kind of an interesting conversation. We're talking about, dating another artist versus dating someone that's not in your field.
Mm-hmm.
And we were kind of just talking about the pros and cons of each. And I was just kind of giving my experience having dated, someone that did what I did, and dating someone that doesn't do what I do. So, and that's all we were talking about.
Yeah, I think it doesn't matter. I think it's just, I'm sure there's a problem with both. What really matters, I think, in terms of a relationship, is if both people have enough respect for one another, right? And that's really what it comes down to. And also, I think, like, I know this is not supposed to be dating. Put someone through a bunch of... Oh, hey, Charles is watching. Charles. Hey.
It all came down to debt.
Hey, Charles. Charles Lee. I need to talk to you, buddy. Because I want to try to do a workshop with you guys. Anyway.
Charles Lee. It's like Charles from Blizzard Charles? Like awesome environment Charles?
Yeah.
Like, Charles Lee is the shit.
Anywho, so as I was saying...
No one cares, man. No one cares. We just talked about the pros and cons of each, and obviously, obviously different. There are certain people compatibility wise where it doesn't really matter.
People, right? It's kind of what we were saying in our Discord chat just moments ago. Yeah,
I told him to marry a doctor, keep the bills low.
Yeah, I think it's just about people, man. Having people, meeting the right peoples, because I've seen it both. I've seen both ends of the spectrum. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, what's up, Charles? Hey, Jason Seiler's watching. Jason, it's been a while.
People really like this.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about hitting you up recently. I saw a post you did about like a long time ago. Actually, it was like the Donald Trump stuff and Hillary Clinton like caricature T-shirt stuff. It was really cool.
Yeah, those are pretty badass.
Yeah, you're so good, man. And we've had some good times together. I wanted to see if we can reconnect. So anyway, people are people, dude. Like Zach's talking, hey, what's up, man? On the dating subject, how do you make life work with kids, fiance, trying to get into the industry, day job? Do most artists maintain relationships? Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like, so when I met my wife, I was an artist. I was working like 10, 12-hour days easily, right? I was working crazy, trying to really make a name for myself. And this is way before anybody knew who I was, right? So I was just starting out, barely getting my first job in the industry type of thing. And, it was cool, like, to have her there during that time, because she's seen it all. She's been there through everything. And so she's really, really great because of that. It would be different if I might have met her while I was on my prime, right? Mm-hmm. But I wasn't. I was like terrible at everything, and I'm still terrible at a lot of things. But like she still puts up with all that, and that's what it comes down to. That's kind of what I was trying to get to. Is that I was an artist before I met her, and I'm an artist after, right? And the kind of person I am is the person I am, and she just knows who that is. And I've evolved obviously over the years in terms of how I am with her in the relationship, and vice versa. So for instance, she was really like upset that I would work so much, but not too often. She understood that that's what I was doing, and and it's something that came to me was that she wasn't upset that I was working so much. She was upset that I wasn't around, like I wasn't hanging out with her. Like she genuinely missed me, and it's like hard to get mad at somebody when they just want to be around you. You know what I mean? That's kind of the point I'm trying to make. And so I took it very seriously to be serious about my relationship with her. And I get it. Like, it's hard because you want to try to accomplish a lot, but at the same time try to appease another person is a very difficult task. But you have to ask yourself, like, why are you working so hard? And this is a question that I've asked myself recently. It's like, why am I working? Like, especially in the last year, I've been asking myself this question quite a bit. Because we have this culture that's like, you got to work really hard if you want to make a name for yourself. And I've made a name for myself, whether that's good or bad. At the end of the day, it's like, well, why? Like, what was the point of it? In the beginning, it was just like, just to create some sort of monetary gain, right? Like in the beginning, very, very beginning, just to make money so I can live off of this craft. And then the next thing was just like, well, maybe now it's about trying to be acclaimed, become someone that's recognized for great works and stuff. And then the next thing that happened was just like, well, why does that even matter? If the people that I love don't even know who I am, like I hang out with my family, like at one point less than I hang out with the people that support me and stuff like that. And I remember, and I've talked about this in streams before, I remember there's somebody that brought this point up to me, and I think it wasn't a person I knew, I think it was on a podcast that I listened to. But basically they were saying very similar things. They're like, there comes a point where you have to ask yourself, do you want to be good at your career, like great at your career, or be great with your family? Because you really can't have both. And they meant great. Like, you can be good. You can be a good father, good husband, or good wife, good mother, or good sister or brother, or whatever that is that you care about. And an amazing artist, and one of the most prolific and most renowned and respected people in the industry, or whatever. But you can't have both. You can't be great at both, because there's literally no time to do that. Now, my wife understands. Like I said, she's been there since the beginning, right? So she understands the struggle. She understands that what we've been through, and all the positive things that has come from that. She really understands. People like Kaylin, who've known me since my whole art career, again, they understand like the struggles and stuff like that. I've been going through some real hard times, and people like him have really stayed with me regardless, And I'm very lucky. I have a lot of people like that in my life. I have a lot. And I'm very happy. That's why not too many things can bring me down, because I know I have people that know me best. And that became very clear to me that I need to start to shift my priorities to stop becoming so great at, let's say, art. And luckily for me, I spent a lot of time really becoming good at it, So it's easier for me to say, like, I can just take a back seat on this whole thing, because I've really spent a lot of time. I'm lucky that I didn't spend my lifetime, is what I'm trying to say, right? And then realizing too late that maybe I shouldn't have.
Yeah, it's like Street.
just put a year.
No, I'm serious. Like, I put a lot of time in that game, and I'm glad I got out of it when I did, because I was like, that was a lot.
I hear what you're saying. Yeah, it's like,
it's like, wow.
Yeah, it's exactly when I played like WoW for like a year, and I really wasted a lot of time. Well, not really. I don't look at that as a waste, because a lot of that taught me a lot too, right?
Yeah.
But it taught me about like my time management with priorities and things that I care about. It taught me really that if I want to be good at something, all I got to do is spend a lot of time at it. But anyway, getting to the point of like answering that question too, and kind of on the topic of dating and all that stuff. I think that the point I'm trying to make with all of this is that I was spending too much of my time with something that is superficial and will not truly make me happy, even though it seems like it should, right? And I've had students that I had one student who was super hardcore. I've actually had a lot, and I've given them advice that, like, it's great, keep working really hard, keep pushing yourself, but remember, for what? Because one day you're going to be that great artist. You're going to be recognized as someone that's accomplished. But you're going to ask yourself still, like, what next? And you got to ask yourself, like, right now, what makes you happy? And if you're not doing it right now, then maybe you should reconsider all the stuff you're doing. And sometimes it's really simple. Maybe a lot of people that I know, it is just like painting and drawing. You know what I mean? It really is just as simple as just drawing and painting and working for a company. I think for me, it wasn't so much that, right? I don't really think that working for just any studio is something that makes me entirely happiest. In fact, I took an opportunity, and I even told them that I can only really do it part time, because there's so many things that I have priorities in my life, and one of the most important things is being around my family and hanging out with the people I care about. In fact, that's why I started really looking to my health, because my health was now getting in the way of me being with them, because I'm just constantly like want to lay down and just not do shit, right? Because I'm in pain so much sometimes, where I'm just so lethargic that I just want to lay down and not do anything. And that sucks, because like I said, the whole you can either be good at one thing or another, and like all this time that I was trying to be good at art doesn't matter if the people in my life don't care, and all this time that I'm not taking care of my health doesn't matter if the people in my life aren't getting the best of me, And so fixing all these stuff started making me a lot more aware of like the major happinesses in my life. Like I started hanging out with friends again, like playing video games with people again, talking with people outside. Like I just started a Discord channel with my students, so that way whenever I'm just hanging out and working, I can have people to talk with, and it's just like open chat, and it's open right now. Hopefully they're talking with one another, but if they're not, probably here in the stream, watching the stream. But my point is a lot of what we've been conditioned to think about for happiness is just not, I think, physiologically speaking or biologically speaking, like we've conditioned it in the wrong pool of thought, right? Like in the reality is this pool of thought of success. Like that's what makes people happy. And as someone who's achieved a lot of great success, and someone who's also achieved a lot of great failures, the happiest I've ever truly been is being surrounded by the people I care about. That's why whenever we do workshops and people want us to come to their country and talk, like I usually just try to bring my friends, people that I really care about, and people that I know. And I usually suggest those people because I want to be surrounded by those people. I don't really am too drawn by if you're just really good at art. There's a lot of people that are really good at art that I care about. But there's people that I really, really care about, and they may not be the best at art. I mean, even right now, like we're planning a trip, and like Kalen's helping manage that, and I've suggested another artist, and he was just like, "What? Why should I even go? That person's going." And I'm just kind of like, because you're Kalen Chuck, you're like my best friend. That's why. Like I don't really. It's not a matter of like bringing the best talent. It's about bringing people that I think have the right message. And Kalen's one of those people. And, like, you have one of the best talks I've seen. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that as a bias, as your best friend. Like, your For Real is probably one of the more inspiring ones, especially the one where you talk about school and stuff. That's probably the greatest one. I never get bored of listening to that one. And so, and I remember the first time I saw it, it was at the AI Inland Empire when we had our own workshop. Yeah. It was a great one. I was like, oh, this is great. This is really good. And so, yes, again, like getting back to kind of the point, like, yeah, if you're worried about how do I manage all this stuff, try to manage it and try to put the priority of things first. Like if it's about being with your fiance and hanging out with the person you love, then make time for that. Schedule time. Make it important to yourself, and make it important to her so that she knows that you're not doing all this art stuff just because you're trying to reach success. You're doing all this other stuff because it's what you love. Getting back to kind of like my wife too. Like she's a dancer. Like she goes salsa dancing all the time, and people that she doesn't know, like some strangers, super machismo kind of mentality, have this idea of like, why are you here when your husband is not, kind of attitude. And she's just like, well, that's why he's my husband, because I'm a dancer, and he's never stopped me from being a dancer. And just like I'm an artist, she's never stopped me from being an artist. She's supported me 100% of the way. And it was hard in the beginning when we didn't understand entirely, but she was never jealous of it, and she was never envious or resentful of it. She just missed me. And I was like, oh, cool, let's fix that then. And now I work from home, and I'm doing streams, and I work like my classes and my workshops and stuff, or like the classes I do and these streams that I do take probably only 20 to 30 hours out of my day, or my week, I mean. which is not a lot, and I can spend the rest of the day. Well, recently, it's spent the rest of the day just laying down, just like trying to get past these headaches. I feel good today. I don't know what it was that she put in breakfast today, but it's cured me or something for temporary. It comes and
Love.
goes. Yeah, it's crazy. Love.
Love. That's in your breakfast.
I started using Google Calendars, and there's like keeps popping right up in my front of my screen. It's good though. It's actually nice that it does that. Anyway, but yeah, so I think staying positive, putting priorities first. I know a lot of people too who have like very successful, very accomplished artists who've been having these issues, like personal issues, and we talk about it behind the behind the curtain type of stuff. You gotta there's this really cool Black Mirror episode that I just saw, not yesterday, but the first episode of the third season. No spoilers, I won't tell you guys too much about it, but basically it's the episode's theme is about this idea that what if society grew to where you were classified by your ranking. Like imagine like Yelp but for people, right?
Huh.
Right? Like imagine like a rating system that people can rate you and like all the things you do in your day, and based off of that rating, you have special privileges in the world and stuff like that. Like you can afford a certain type of housing or a certain type of thing, but like it's like super fake, right? Like people are super fake about their happiness, and it's this really cool commentary about like you see all these Instagram posts of people like, oh look at me, I'm living life to the fullest, But then like if you meet them in person and you start talking to them behind like all that, you start to realize maybe they're not as happy as they appear, kind of thing. You get what I'm saying? And that's like so true, man. That's like so true with a lot of successful people. I remember we were at the airport, and Dan and I were having a really strong conversation about that, and we were talking about like Valve and how they don't make games anymore. And he was just really he's like, why not, man? They're so good. Like they should really get back on that. And I was like, well, some people just don't want to do things. They don't want to do stuff anymore, right? Like if you look at Bill Gates, like Bill Gates doesn't care. Really, he probably can care less what's going on with Microsoft, even though he started everything. You know what I mean? John Lasseter is like all over the place with Disney and Pixar. It's like he's clearly not directing movies anymore. I think he's going to direct the next Toy Story. But that's it, right? I mean, J.J. Abrams has kind of stopped directing movies, even though he directed Star Wars recently. You know what I mean? Remember? Yeah, but like, yeah, if you start to trickle down and start looking at some of these people that are in charge, and yeah, I mean, Steven Spielberg, like, I mean, he's not too much into his directing anymore, right? And you're thinking, why not, man? That's like your thing, that's your passion. It's like, well, some people get bored. Some people realize maybe that's not exactly what made them happy in this life, right? Like, that's what gave them their success, and that's what gave them their fame, but at the end of the day, what is it that truly makes them happy? And they're starting to discover it. But obviously on the flip side, there's people like Stan Lee who's loved Marvel since the beginning of its creation, and arguably is at the prime of his whole career, right? But he's like in his 90s, right? And then you have people like Elon Musk too, who's like loves everything about what he's doing right now. But it's just, like you can't judge people on their successes is what I'm trying to get at, You got to start looking at kind of what makes them happy, and are they doing that? And if that's what the kind of things you're trying to gauge by, like, because I think a lot of people are trying to find happiness, right? And if you're trying to look for it, then look at it for people that are actually happy, and don't look at successful people. I forget who I was talking to. I think I was talking to a student in my last class. They were like, "So, how do you feel about Brangelina and their breakup? Oh, it's so terrible." I was like, I don't care. It's like I'm not trying to be like non-empathetic or anything. Like it sucks, divorce is a terrible thing, but I don't know those people, and I don't know what went wrong, but just because they're famous doesn't mean that they know what happiness is, right? And and they're just not happy. That's really what it looks like, and they just are celebrating. It just happens. And she was just like, but that's like where my whole staple of like what I thought love was. And I was like, you need to find a new.
That was your first
Yeah, I was like, you need to find new role models in love because
Yeah.
those people aren't it.
Jersey Shore, Love and Hip Hop.
You know,
That's-
my greatest examples are my best friends, Kaylin, person that's been writing all these cool short stories for me. Not the black Kaylin in here, white Kaylin, pure Kaylin, master race
Not
Kaylin,
pure. Oh my god.
super racist.
Yeah,
He took a turn.
Yeah, just a super turn from like really profound like education. And
Yeah, it's all
on
like
happiness.
nice and like loving, and then like
And then
master
super,
race.
super racist. People are like really indifferent about my commentary. No, I'm just kidding. It's like inside joke because like we just keep
Yeah,
like
yeah.
we just keep adding to it. White Kingdom has nothing to do with this. We just keep adding to it. But anywho, my other friend Caleb, and I've known since I was 10. Him and his wife Sylvia, they've been together for almost freaking 2 decades. It's crazy.
Wow.
And they got married like after 10 years of having a relationship, and I just saw kind of like how they handled it, and they've been a really good role model for me, and a role models for me in terms of what I think a good relationship looks like. Like not celebrities, you know. Like if I had to pick a celebrity duo, it'd probably be like Justin Timberlake and Jessica Biel, right? Because Justin Timberlake looks like he's got a level head, and so does Jessica Biel. They don't look like crazy people that are just happen to be famous, right? But even then, like it's like I look at the people that I know and I've seen over the years, not just like some people I've never met, you know, people that I have no conversation with. So yeah, I mean, like if you guys are having a hard time finding people in your life that are supportive and are not conducive to helping you grow as an artist, then I'd highly recommend changing that. You know, and I don't just mean spouse-wise, I mean like friendship-wise. Like surround yourself with great people and great things will happen in your life. Because I'm going through some health stuff, and it would be a lot more stressful if I didn't have as many people in my life that I do that really care. It's crazy. And I mean, like, yes, there's like a great amount of comments and people commenting on the status, you know. But that's mostly just so people like who know my work. I really want them to know what's going on with my life. But my personal people in my life have already known a lot of this because I've told them, you know, so that they know what's going on. And 100% have been super supportive and helped me out, both like personally, financially, you know, and professionally, you know, every aspect of it. And it's really great. And I'm very grateful for that. So yeah, surround yourself with great people. I forgot, I think it was Gary Vee, a really awesome motivator. Like, he talked about this. He's like, I surround myself with people that are awesome. He's like, the only reason why I'm awesome is because the people I'm around are just as awesome, or if not more awesome than I am. So I have a standard to live up to, right? And that's a really good way of living, I think. And that's really where happiness, I think, really begins, is when you are consistently surrounded by positivity. No matter how bad things happen. Because I had a lot of bad stuff happen, and because I have so many positive people in my life, I'm still relatively optimistic. It's very rare that I'm not that optimistic. So yeah. Anyway, what's up, everybody? Oh, we got. Let's see who we got in here. I want to give some shout outs to peeps. We got Jamaros, we got Thomas, we got Lloyd, we got Iron Cutter, we got George, Zach, Matt, Jesus, Sam, Isaac, Alexander. I could probably just say any kind of name, and that'll probably be right. When? Yeah, I actually was talking to Thomas. We've been talking today a little bit. I saw you wrote a long message. I didn't get the chance to read it because I'm obviously in the stream right now. I'll read it after the stream. But I'm trying to put together another workshop in Inland Empire. And I'm going to try to get the other schools that I'm really good friends with to try to hold like this really more personable workshop. We'll see how it goes. But it should be good. It should be really good. Because those workshops are great. And I love doing them. And they're free. Mm-hmm. That's the best part, because like Thomas has the hookups, and so like a lot of things that would cost money, he takes that out of the equation. So there might be, I'm not sure if there is any cost, but if there would be, it would be for the food. I know he was talking about before is like if there was going to be any cost, it would be for reservation of the spot, and once you show up, then you get all that money back. Because he said there's too many people that were like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go, and then they don't go, and that matters, especially when he is spending money on the like food and the catering, right? Like if like 100 people say they're gonna go, and then like 10 people show up, that's a big deal, right? But I don't think we've had an issue with our workshops, but you never know. But for anyone who's interested, we're probably gonna have that. I don't know, not anytime within the next month or so. Probably next year. Probably first quarter next year, I'm thinking. But yeah, Thomas is in here, so give a shout out to Thomas doing best stuff for the art industry, man.
Yeah, dude, he's like he's always been that guy. This person that's someone that kind of still works in education, like on the at a university college level. We always look at Thomas or whatever. I'm trying to like get stuff for a school, whatever school I'm. It's back when I used to work at the AI in Sunnyvale. I'd be like, yo, these guys in Inland Empire are doing all these things, and you're telling me we can't do these? And they're like, oh, and I'm just like, God damn it.
Yeah, those AIs shut down, didn't they?
Yeah, and they did, and that's a good testament as to why they are not around anymore. Because I try to get them all the time to do these workshops, and they're just giving me all these reasons why it's impossible. And I would I'd tell them like, hey, I'm like, look at having one literally every month of like top tier talent, and we have top tier talent here, but you don't want to organize it, or you don't want to help me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so they're just kind of like, I remember the one time that I did yours when you came actually to my school.
Yeah, for
I literally had to do everything. And they just kind of showed up and was like, yeah, like have them write their names on this sheet. And I was like, what? It's like, you can't just like, if I'm doing everything, you can't just come here and then just like take credit and be like, oh, welcome, come check out our school. Like, this is how it's going to be. And I'm like, this is not how it's going to be, because unless I'm here, like, you're not going to do it.
Yeah, I've been pretty adamant about my stance on the formal education and like accredited schools, and especially since AI. But like I can say, without a doubt, the Inland Empire, because of Thomas, because he's there, is a gem, right?
Yeah, it's something that you trust, I would say.
Dude, totally.
You trust you trust his purpose, where he really does.
Yeah.
Really does care about, bringing stuff that will help students.
Yeah, I remember I think the very first talk I did with them, I was like, F school. And he was just like, oh boy, and he still had me back, and I was like, oh, you know what? Not all schools. This school's dope. I rarely talk about like good schools, and when I do, I bring up the Inland Empire as being one of the better ones in Southern California.
Yeah, he definitely sets the bar on what what a workshop should be like, and how you should treat your students and treat your guests and treat the presenters, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, we were talking about this kind of earlier in our Discord chat. We were talking about how like the whole doctor situation that I went through, and even like a very personal issue that Mike's going through with his family, and we were talking about it, and just like how like even though they're a doctor, even though they're an artist or teacher or whatever, people are people. And just because they may be good at something or they have a title doesn't mean they like should be respected, right? Or you should take their opinion as like true,
as law.
Yeah, and because that happened with me, cause like even if I didn't go to that, because my first doctor was just kind of like, "Yeah, you're fine." I was like, "I don't think I'm fine, bro." He's like, "Yeah, you're fine." I was like, "This is pretty bad," and I've pretty much done everything that I can think of that I've tried, and I just don't think I'm fine. And he's like, "No, you're fine." And I'm like, "All right, well, crap." And so then he's like, and what happened was that I told him too. I was like, I think I should get an MRI because I really want to make sure that I'm not like dying. And he was just all, "No, we don't do that. We don't do preventative medicine." And I'm like, "What?" And I remember giving him an analogy. He's like, "It's like you're telling me," because in my head I was just like, "What kind of stupid." Like, so you're telling me you don't help me until I am sick? That's all right. Like until like it's too late, kind of thing. And so I remember giving him an analogy as like it's like so you're telling me I have to wait till my brakes of my car like shatter and I'm like crash into a fire hydrant before I go see a mechanic? You know, like normally you go to see a mechanic to get all your stuff checked. They check your oil, they check your brakes, they check all the stuff that could potentially not kill you. You know, and that's like a mechanic. You know, and he was like, well, I remember he gave an analogy that was akin to that too. He was trying to like one up the guy or whatever. And I forgot what it was, but it wasn't good enough. And I even thought, like, that's stupid. And I think he thought that too. He realized that because then he was like, all right, well, I'll send you to whatever, and I'll let you do these extra blood tests that you're requesting. He was like, just because you're asking, you know. And he was like, I guess you have the money to do that too. And I'm like, no, I don't. Like, I just want to not find out I'm dying, right? He's like, all right. And you know, now you think about it, the fact that he said that is kind of like, what? So anyway, then I went to an optometrist that he sent me to. He's like, well, with your eyes, we'll send you to an eye doctor. And I was like, all right. So I go see the eye doctor, and the eye doctor was just like, oh, you just need eye drops. You just got dry eyes. And I'm like, I don't think I got dry eyes, homie. You know, I think this is more than dry eyes. And then she was just like, whatever. And at that point, I was kind of I was defeated. I was like, all right, well, I guess I'm just sick with dry eyes. And then my wife was just like, nah, like, we're getting a second opinion. This is a bull. And then that's when we went and saw the second optometrist. So this is like 3 doctors, the third one. And we went, and my wife was there this time, and she was like, you know, using her Latin anger. And she was just really getting in there and like really upset and talking about like we've been going through this for years, through different doctors and different diagnoses, and nobody's getting anything done, kind of thing. And she was pretty much my voice. And that doctor was like, "Yeah, you know, this is pretty serious." And we were just like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, I don't know." He's like, "You guys need to see a specialist. You need to see a neurologist, because if that's the only person I can think of that can probably get this going." And I was like, finally, someone that's like listening to me, right? And then we go to a neurologist, and the neurologist is like, yeah, you know what? Like, let's get you an MRI. And I'm like, right? And she's like, yeah. And then we get an MRI, and she's like, yeah, you got, like, there's literally something behind your eyeball. Like, everything you said, like, there's like, look, right here, we can see it. There's clearly something there. So we did a spinal tap, and then more MRIs, and more doctor visits, and then here we are, right? I have to do surgery. But I had to, like, even then, I had to see, like, 4 or 5 different doctors, and we had to, like, really get into it, right?
You had to fight for someone to help you.
Yeah. And I'm, like, paying for all this, and I'm thinking, like, what the hell am I paying all this for? If, like, I have to, like, work for it just as hard as the people that are supposed to. Speaking specifically of the ones that did a terrible job, the one, like, the neurologist has been awesome. And the person who, the endocrinologist, whatever, the person that diagnosed by what I have, she basically nailed it to the wall, exactly everything. And I was like, whoa. And she's like, yeah, you need surgery, homie. And I'm like, all right, cool. And, but it took like work. And it's going back to like, you know, all of this stuff, like schools and teachers, we went to AI. Me and Kaylin had a terrible experience with our AI, but not entirely, because luckily for us, we had like Mike Tracy, we had Charles Hugh, we had Patrick.
What's up, guys?
Patrick Ballesteros.
Whatever.
Hey, what's up, dude? What's up, Will?
Whoa!
We
Why you hating?
had people like Will, meeting friends like Will, and I had friends like Kaylin and Nina and Edgar. Yeah, you know, there's obviously the positive stuff, and I think that's what was the amount of our success. And like, you know, like a lot of people ask me like if I want to go to like a physical school, where should I go? And I actually recommend people to go to Brainstorm. So yeah, you won't get a diploma, right? But you'll get jobs because those people are like the best in the industry, and they've gone through the educational system. In fact, both of the owners, I believe, like I think James went to Art Center too. I know John did.
James went to Center.
Yeah, but John left, right, because of family stuff. And so you got like one who graduated and one who didn't, and they're undoubtedly some of the best teachers in this industry, right?
Yeah.
And I had a student of mine was just like, I was thinking about going to Art Center. And I was like, Art Center is great. Like, Art Center actually has great teachers, great staff. good system. Some people debate against that, but I've seen nothing but positive stuff come out of there. Like I said, I don't know. I've never been, so I'm only talking from a third person point of view.
It definitely gives you. It'd be very hard to go there, and if you didn't put in, I haven't seen anyone in there that has gone there and put in the work and not gotten something out of it. Because it gives you everything that you need. I would say.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what I'm saying. Is like I feel like there were certain schools that didn't give you what you needed in order to just know what success is. So, but there, like you see what success looks like. You understand the alumni. You understand the people that are working there. It's very easy to understand like what it is you need to do. Whereas certain schools, like they kind of have no clue, and so then when you get out, they're very like, wait, what? Like I have to do this? Like I haven't met any like art center student that didn't know like the industry inside out. That you know what I mean? That just was kind of like oblivious. It's like what?
And you still have students that go there but it's very. It's very like it's not as frequent as if people who went to like RAI specifically, like where it's the flip, right? You would have like 70% people that would do really well from Art Center, and then you have 30% do well or do really bad. In an AI Orange County, you would have the opposite, right? It's like
well, actually,
30%.
I mean, out of all AIs, though we are kind of bad mouthing it. I mean, I would say out of all the AIs that are around, I think ours was definitely that generation of people, though I'd probably say it's the testament to the people, have been the most successful. I mean, you got to think of people that came through there, like Rob, Jason, Kurt, Frank, you, me.
No, dude, that's my point. It's 30%. Like, think about all our friends who still are, like, struggling.
Yeah, that's what I mean, was that, like, look at the other AIs of people that did make it versus people that didn't. Ours is definitely, like, that generation of people was definitely, like, I don't know what was in the water, but it was definitely a lot higher than most AIs. I'll give you that. I'll definitely say that much.
Yeah, and so getting kind of to the point, right? Like, I think Inland Empire would have been better. I would have loved going there because we would have had Thomas, right? Thomas is a huge influence, and I remember we were at I think our workshop, and some students were just like, I don't know, man. Like, I was like, dude, like you guys had Kim Jong Ji come and talk at your guys' school. Like, are you kidding me? Like, get your act together, dude.
Yeah, you want to be at a place that will at least give you the tools and the resources in order for you to be able to succeed.
Yeah, maybe not all your teachers are awesome.
Not going to be awesome.
But you got Thomas, who's bringing some of the talent, man, and you got to, take advantage of that.
They got to bring something. It has to be some kind of fighting chance. That's the platform for you to be creative and be successful.
Yeah, who did they bring for us?
That is,
they brought Trevor Claxton, right? Who else? I can't think of anyone else who's like awesome.
Shit.
Yeah, but he was pretty influential. Even to this day, every time I see him, I'm like, dude, your workshop at AI. He's like, what? You remember that? It's like, dude.
Yeah, I remember when he came. That was Joe Pena. Shouts to Joe Pena that was responsible for getting that to happen.
Oh, really?
That was like Joe Pena, dude. Joe Pena like helped organize that whole thing. That's how ridiculous it was that like Joe Pena had to like go and email these people and go get them to come here. Like that's how much work a student had to put in order for it to happen. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. So that's what I'm saying. Shout outs to Joe Pena if he ever, or Joe Guy. I think he changed his name now, but that just goes to show, at least if we wind it, we could have it. But when I was at my AI, like I wanted that stuff, and they just would kind of just look at me sideways, like why, like let's I remember one time I kind of stopped going to the meetings eventually, and they kind of used to get on me about this, and they're like, how come you're not coming to the meetings? And I'm just like why would I want to come to these meetings? And it's like, because I'd sit there and they're like, all right, so I was thinking maybe we could have a barbecue for week 1. I'm just like, okay. And they're like, oh, maybe we should have like a massage person come on like the finals week, that'd be cool. And I'd be like, raise my hand. I'm like, or we could maybe have some workshops, maybe upgrade our computer or upgrade our software, things that are actually freaking useful. And then they would just look at me and be like, well, how about we get like arts and crafts party. And we get stars and we write our names on the stars and we put them on the wall and we write, why are we doing art? And I'm just like, God damn it. Like you're your resources into the wrong thing. So that's why I'm really a big fan of Thomas's because, you can tell that he doesn't like. There's a lot of fluff that schools do in terms of trying to make it feel like it's a college, make it feel like it's really really fun. And I feel like Thomas does a really good job of like not being very efficient with the resources that they have. And it's like
take advantage of the people that are awesome in your life in like a positive way. Like you get in there and keep them around. That's what I'm trying to get at, right? Like, keep them around. That's kind of the moral of the story here.
Yeah, you'd even be surprised. I mean, remember Daniel Arive? I told that story about him. He recently came to visit me in the Bay Area. He was in town, and he was like, "Hey, man, I'm in the area. Let's get some food." And I was like, "Okay, cool." And he's like, "So, like, what are you doing here?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm at the academy, just like at class, So you want to come hang out?" And he's like, "Oh, can I check out the school?" And I was like, "It's just like any other school." And he's like, "Yeah, well, let's check it out." So I gave him a tour, and I remember the look on his face when he saw that they had Cintiqs, and he was like, "Whoa!" I was like, "Whoa, what?" I'm like, "It's a Cintiq lab." He's like, "Colin, like we don't have this at my school. We don't have Cintiqs. Like we don't have like monitors." And then I remember like I'm like, "You want to go on the computer?" And he's like, "Can I?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he goes on the computer, and I remember his face when he saw that they had Maya in 3D Code. He was like, "Wow, they have Maya on here? Like, and 3D Code? And Unreal?" And I was like,
Unreal's free, bro.
It's like, yeah, but...
Unreal. No, bro, you say that, but even my college, I kept on having to beg them to get Unreal. And they wouldn't.
Right? It's like,
and I was like, what the fuck,
things
guys?
that we take for granted, right? Because I was just kind of... I knew why
it's free.
I knew why he was, like, super amazed, but he was just like, in Spain, like, they don't have these kind of classes. I learned for myself. I had to, like, pirate my own programs. He's like, you have all this? He's like, oh, you guys have life drawing, too? And I was like, yeah. He's like, you can come at certain days. And then I was showing him, like, the lab, like, the free lab. And the free lab has tutors, So, like, if you're, like... So there's always a tutor on deck, like, at the lab. And it kind of, like, has their picture and their profile and what they're known for. So if you want to get help while you're at the lab, like, all you have to do is go talk to them, and they will help you with whatever issue that you're having. ZBrush, Maya, that kind of stuff. And he was like, "What? They have, like, tutors, like, all the time?" And I was like, "Yeah, cool. Most schools have that, man." And he's just like, "Whoa." He's like, "Dude," he's like, "I did everything myself, man." He's like, "These people are so lucky." He's like, "Yeah, they
still
are."
Have people in there like playing Minecraft.
Yeah,
and Street
so when a student comes to my class and it's not doing his work and is fucking around, I just kind of laughed. I just kind of laughed because I'm just like, man, if you did not live here, like, you would be so screwed, because you would not know, like, how hard it is for other people. Like, it's just funny that someone's like, "You have dual monitors? What?" Like, and the shit that we just take for granted, that we're just kind of like, true. "Yeah, you don't have that?" They're like, "No, dude."
That's very true.
Right, and so, yeah, you definitely have to want to be at a place where they put you in the best position to succeed. And so I think, back to Thomas, like, it's always really
shout
cool.
out to Thomas. That's all I'm trying to get at. Be happy, man. Like, if you are in a place that has internet, Wi-Fi, like 2 monitors, and like Maya and Google, like, you are definitely, I will definitely say, you are definitely better off than most people. So it's like, definitely, like, be thankful, because that's all you need, man. That's all we did. I mean, back when we were in school, we didn't get any of that cool shit till, like, after we were gone. It was one square screen and trying to figure it out. So. But even that, we still had, like, our own advantages. And I think we took advantage of whatever those
take advantage of it. Yeah, so I think that's the biggest thing, is take advantage of the resources that are given to you. And if you're not, then, you are essentially wasting your time, which is kind of unfortunate that some people can't recognize that. You know what I mean? So
yeah. Anywho, yeah, dude. Thanks for everyone who's been chilling. Has there been any questions?
Yeah, I've been putting them down.
Great, thanks, Mike. Appreciate you. Hey, how you doing, Will? Before we get too deep,
doing all right. I was
hanging out
working.
with friends. Oh, I thought you were.
I had lunch with some friends. I had some lunch with friends from out of state.
Oh, cool.
And then just got back. I went to the doctor this morning for a checkup. So.
Oh, good.
And after that, I went to lunch.
Yeah, I had a few people message me recently, like, with this whole thing. They're like, "Dude, I've been dealing with some pains, like, was like, go see a doctor, man. Like, don't wait around, man, because I wait around for too long, and it's been pretty bad.
Yeah, everyone's pulling like a Des Bryant when it comes to like go to the doctor.
Apparently, I'm healthy enough, and the only issue is that I need to get out in the sun more.
Yeah, that's a common problem.
I have very low vitamin D, and I just found out I'm allergic to dogs and cats.
Oh wow.
Otherwise, I'm good.
I guess you can't stay at my place then ever again.
Well, like just dander, I guess. I mean, like when I stayed there, I was fine with Toby, so I don't know if it's just like if it's like specific dogs or what, but because my mom has a dog and I don't get allergic to my mom's dog, so
it's probably whack dogs, like dogs that aren't tight. Because Toby's tight as fuck.
Yeah, no doubt.
To non-cool dogs.
Yeah, if your dog's whack as fuck, it's like you try to sneeze, like, oh my god, your dog's so whack, can't breathe.
Yeah. Like I'm not allergic to my cat, our cat, so it's
Maybe your doctors are lying to you.
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, because it's pretty much you're like, I'm allergic to dogs and cats, but not this dog or that cat.
She must be lying to me because she said my liver's fine too, and I've been drinking a lot, so I don't know how my liver's fine.
This is like exactly the argument we were just having.
We just had this conversation.
Like, about like, don't trust your doctors entirely. Yeah, let's say get a second opinion, because you're like, as we're unraveling her lies as we're talking with you.
The next doctor is like, you're allergic to snake bites. Don't get bit by a snake.
Right.
As like a snake is biting his arm currently, he's like, dude, this snake's been biting my arm since I was 4, and I've been fine. He's like, yeah, it's gonna kill you, man. You gotta stop that. What? So hey, well, I'm glad you're healthy, man. I'm glad you're doing your thing. How was your Comic-Con thing? Didn't you go to like Comic-Con or something?
I did.
Yeah,
I was at New York Comic Con. That was a lot of fun. Did a lot of networking. That was really cool. Got some contacts with like publishers and writers and stuff like that. So that was really sick.
Get it? Cool. Get it, Will.
Yeah.
Did you bring back any cool like swag stuff? What'd you buy?
I bought like a couple prints here and there that I like that from artists that don't go to the West.
Oh, okay.
That was about it. I didn't really buy a lot of stuff because I didn't want to carry it at the airport.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
So
like Oregon Trail, you gotta get rid of some stuff.
But it was really dope. Oh, I saw Fonz for like 5 seconds.
Oh yeah, I forgot Fonz was there. That's weird that you have to see that motherfucker on the East Coast and you're on the West Coast.
He totally did a high and by.
Oh yeah, he's Fonz is always on the move, so it's hard to keep track of that guy sometimes.
Well, cool, man. All right, let's try to answer some questions. I'm gonna go eat.
All right,
get some stuff done. So
just heads up, I'm foregoing pronouncing names, so I'm just gonna read them out.
All right.
Do you? Huh?
Aaron ass.
All right. First one says, do you think it's a good idea to avoid relationships during the early stages of your career as a concept artist?
I don't think so. I think just avoid toxic ones, but not entirely. If one comes up and happens to be the spouse of your lifetime, like you don't want to miss out on that. But at the same time, they could be completely poisoned, right? Just live your life. Treat everyone, respectively, differently. Pay attention to obvious red flags. But yeah, I would say give people a chance, especially if they surface and they show that there's a care there. You know what I mean? Whoa, like they actually care about you. And
I think. All right, no, keep going. Sorry.
Oh yeah, but overall, I would say you don't want to do this alone, and especially if you're just starting out. I think it might mean more if you meet somebody that just takes you as you are. Like I was just saying with my wife, she took me way before all this stuff. Like my career.
She day one.
Yeah, my career is about 9 years into this, and we've been together for 7. So it's like those first 2 years, I was barely getting into the art scene and stuff and making a name for myself.
That's from Zabby. Zabby, you got to find someone before Edge Control blows up, bro.
Yeah.
You gotta find a girl before edge control blows up. Then you're gonna have all these hoes on you.
Yeah, and vice versa. Like obviously there's opportunity. I think you just got to be more cautious because there's going to be people that are going to want to be there because of that. Obviously, you know what I mean. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, if you can have it, then go for it. If you can't, then don't worry about it.
I think where that question kind of stems from is because I've been there before. When you're in this very kind of focused and locked mode of wanting to do work and being very kind of serious about your career, it can be very hard to have a relationship. Not to say that you should hold off on it, because I think I had one when because I'd been there. I was with one that had left me during school because she was just like, you're never around, you don't have time for me, you don't love me, and and I would always kind of say like, I do, but I'm not doing this to be selfish. I'm doing this because I want to be able to have a career. I want to be able to pay back my loans. I want to have a job so that we can enjoy some of like the things that I want to do for you, like be able to take care of you. And she didn't understand that, and she left. But then I met someone later on, that following year that did understand that. And even though I was still just equally as busy, she let me, do me. She was more accepting of it. So I think when people ask that question, they're asking because they're afraid that by getting in a relationship, it will take away from what they're currently doing. And I don't think that's the way to look at it per se. I think every situation is different, but just look at, is the person adding, subtracting, right, dividing? Like, what are they bringing to the table in terms of adding to your quality of your life? And if they are adding the quality of your life, then I don't see why not. And I think the biggest thing is communication. Just be upfront with them about your current lifestyle and what's important to you. And and if they're still down for that, then that's cool. But then they can't get mad at you. I think my very first girlfriend in art school, like I just didn't know how to communicate that because I was so young. So I just like started getting really busy with art and just assumed that she was okay with it without really ever kind of really talking about it. You know what I mean? So I think communication is just really big on that kind of stuff. Like just letting them know, like, hey, I'm about edge control, bitch. Like, you about edge control? If you're not, right? So just be real, people. I think as long as you're upfront with it, but I would never like say, oh no, I'm not gonna, like, if I'm single or whatever, I meet someone that's really awesome, like, oh yeah, sorry, bad timing. I'm doing this painting right now, and it's really hard. So I'll see you later, right? Like, that's kind of silly. Like, so don't. If opportunities arise, then go for it, I would say.
All right, good stuff. The next one says, do we get invites to your Discord? Also, I'm glad that you're looking into improving your health.
Right now I'm keeping it relatively private for the robot pencilers. So if you're in the mentorship, the robot pencil mentorship stuff, there should be a link. I think I pinned it too. I might have.
Yeah.
Did I pin it?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, cool. So you can just go there, and if you're already part of it. But if you're not, maybe in the future I'll open it up. It's just I have a lot of people who follow me, so
you don't want.
It would get pretty chaotic.
Yeah. I want to make sure that it's not too crazy. But yeah, I want it to be. If I do make one that's like for everybody, I'm gonna have to really think about how to do that.
Yeah, I get email like you made like a administrator on the raw pencil page, and we get so many people asking to be a part of the group that like art students, and I'm like, who are all these people?
Yeah.
Like then I forget. I'm like, oh yeah, I guess like
there's plenty of really great forums out there that people have that you can kind of hang out with other artists and stuff. Like you don't have to go to ours. And I also would encourage people to make their own. You don't have to wait for me to make one. Like
start one with your friends. It's free.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right. Next one says, how do you get good realistic character design for the entertainment industry?
There's a lot of ways of going about that. One of the most popular ways right now is photo bashing, right? Specifically for film. But if you're not a fan of photo bashing, I would say it's fine. Still learn it because it's a very powerful tool. But also, if you don't want to go through photo bashing, if you want to just do painting, then you have to do a lot of painting. Gotta paint a lot, homie. A lot of painting, a lot of drawing, a lot of studying, a lot of practicing. Specifically, learn your anatomy and learn your values. Those two things are probably the biggest tools that you can really have to increase your ability as a character designer. All the stuff like design and stuff, the way to get better at that is just to really increase your knowledge of just things in general. That's how you stay creative. Look at stuff, experience things.
Next one asked, what is the story behind this character?
I don't know. We'll find out in probably a day or two when Kalen looks at this and he makes a story for it. I was looking at a sketchbook last night as I was laying there dying slowly. I was bad. This whole weekend I was really bad. I don't know what it is today. It makes me feel much better. I think it's the breakfast that my wife made.
It was the love breakfast.
Yeah, and then also maybe the fact that I had a lot of fruits yesterday. I had like a couple fruit smoothies. And then also my wife made, we call it like the poor dinner, which is really cool. It's just like tomatoes and rice. It was just really simple.
Tomatoes and rice?
Yeah, that's it. Like she makes this really good. It's like a thing too for anyone who's ever going to go vegan and go abroad, travel. Like that's one of the good defaults is just look at, just eat like a poor person. Because that's like the easiest way to basically stay vegan, because you just eat lots of certain breads and certain rices and just basic meals. Anyway, she made that for me yesterday. It was really good, and I think that's been helping me out. Wait, hold on. What? You brush your teeth? Mm-hmm. Oh, looks good. Don't breathe on me. Get out of here. All right. But yeah, I would say anyway. Like, what was the question again? It was just like basic.
It was
the
last one was story around this character.
Oh, yeah, that's right. And then so I would say like it's up to Kalen. We'll see how it goes.
All right. Next one asked, are you working on all the layers or just one?
Right now I'm working on one layer. I made 2 layers. Originally what I did is I started with a sketch, and with that sketch I did a paint under. And as you can see, like 90% of it stayed. I think the head piece I didn't like, so I changed it dramatically. Yeah. That's about it.
All right. How do you go about learning basic anatomy and proportions?
Anything you could think of, you're right. The problem is people are afraid of getting into there. They're afraid of eating their vegetables. You know that analogy, like when your mom and dad tell you gotta eat your vegetables, it's gonna make you stronger. Same thing. It's just like you gotta work on your anatomy and forms and your values because it's gonna make you stronger. And yet people just don't do it. It's very simple. In fact, a lot of times, like 70% of my class is just reminding my students like how simple it is, and revealing that to them, because throughout the course of the class they'll like show me that they're not listening, and then eventually they listen and they're like, "Oh, dude, all I had to do was this." I'm like, "Yeah." You know, it's really getting past certain people's fears and their insecurities about their work, and then once I reveal to them that it's very simple, and the only real difference between me and you is that I spent a lot of time at these fundamentals, and all you got to do is do the same, and it's not something that like it's not a runaway effect either. It's not like I'm gonna be so far ahead of you never will catch up. You'll eventually catch up, and you'll have something different to say about it once you get there too, and it'll put you at the same level as me, if not better. Because maybe what you have to say is going to be better than what I have to say. Which has happened. I have a lot of students that have a lot better things to say with their artwork than I do. Which is really cool. It's the greatest triumph as a teacher when the students kick your butt.
All right. Next one asked, I'd love to see how Anthony approaches Blizzard type work. Would be really helpful to me.
Oh, sure. I'll do it maybe in the next stream. Maybe tomorrow.
All right, cool. Now that's all the ones I had written down, so I can just like read down the chat now.
Okay.
Go in reverse. What is the colored panel on the lower left? Can we download it?
I think I have it on my site under resources. But this right here is just actions, yeah. Cool beans. Yeah, I'll take like one more or two more, and then I'm gonna close this out, get to eating. But thanks everybody who's joined so far. It's a good turnout. You guys are awesome. Appreciate y'all. And thank you to anyone who's sent some kind wishes to me. I appreciate that as well. It's very helpful. Keeps me positive.
Okay.
Feeling really good today, man. I'm gonna go for a jog. I didn't feel like crap tomorrow. Pay for the next day.
Contrast. Okay. Somebody else asked how to manage chat moved. How to manage progress when you are having a full-time job and you can barely squeeze in time for practice compared to people who have the opportunity to spend a lot of hours each day.
Well, the first thing is don't compare yourself to people that have more opportunity to work harder or better, because it's a distraction, right? Because you're going to be focused on the wrong problems. You're going to be like, why am I doing all this when other people have all, like, that's always going to be true. Even with the people that have, there's going to be someone like that has like a lot more going for them, and then they in their lives have someone that's even goes more beyond than them, you know? Like, here's a good analogy that I usually apply to this problem mentality, is that, Usain Bolt is one of the fastest people on this planet. Now, if I were to train every day and do everything exactly the way he trained, Usain Bolt will still be faster than me. You know what I mean? Because he still has that advantage on a physiological, on a physical level that I just won't have, right? But just because that's true, you know what I mean? Doesn't mean that I won't be amongst the fastest on this planet. Does that make sense? There'll still be a lot of people that are much faster than. And it's the point I'm trying to make is, like, when you compare yourself in a way where you're like, man, people are going to always have a better, like, it just doesn't help you get any better to think that way. A better way of thinking about it is, how do you manage what you do have and the problems that you do have to deal with, and how you can get past that, because there's people that have it even much worse than you, but yet found a way to succeed or accomplish their goals, right?
Yeah, the playing field is never going to be even, like look back at school, right? Like AJ in particular, right? When he was in school, he didn't have a job, and he was lucky enough to have a girl at the time that was kind of helping him financially. And me, when I was in school, I had a full-time job, had to help mom out a lot. Didn't always have the time or the space where I could, do art 24/7. And, I look at people like Nino or Mio, right? That the same thing, they were able just to kind of do what they needed to do, and they worked very hard. So everyone has their advantages. It's more about just making sure you don't squander it. So AJ, never squandered his opportunities. I see people that never didn't have to work during art school and just fucking hung out. But AJ was always drawing. So it was something that it was like you could see that he knew that he had an advantage of not having to do certain things that people have to do in college. And he was like, I want to take advantage of that. And, I used to look at that sometimes and be like, man, I wish I had his life, because I wish I could just, have my own place and live with my girl and just fucking draw all day long. I wish I had that kind of environment. But at the same time, it's like I could sit there and think about that, or I can say, you know what, fuck it. That's what I did. I said, fuck it. I'm not him. He's not me. So, I just got to do what I got to do. And, the playing field will never be level. But once you understand that, you got to put in work, know?
Absolutely.
So it's just like, I didn't have a lot of time when I was at Disneyland, like fucking painting faces. Will knows the same shit.
Yep.
It was when I got on my break, I would go draw. Yeah. And it's funny because there are certain people that still fucking work there at Disneyland, and they still make the same excuses on why they're not working on their own stuff, why they're not where they want to be. And it's like we had the same exact circumstances. Only when I went on my break, I kept on working on a grind. And when I quit, it was like the greatest thing ever because I could leave and I was like, peace out, guys. And then everyone, I had multiple people from that company come back and be like, oh man, how'd you do it? And it's like, really? Like, you know exactly how I did it. Like, you know what you need to do. You just don't do it.
I think if you love that part of it enough and you're passionate enough to do it and you really want to do it, you're gonna focus on that. Like you're just gonna keep working at it anyways.
Yeah, because
you're gonna find time.
Yeah, me and AJ could have focused on, we're not at art center. Like that's what a lot of people did at our school. people said, "Oh, well, we're not art center, we're not No Mom, we're not whatever, so I can't do it. I don't have the time or I don't have the thing." I mean, if you ever want to look at someone that has it like really, really hard, just go talk to Dan McGowan. Dan McGowan to this day is probably one of the most inspirational individuals that I know, because he had 2 children at the time. He was working a full-time job selling cars, which, by the way, is fucking hard work to slang whips. You know what I'm talking about?
Slang whip.
So that's what he used to call it. He's like, I slang whips. What? You sell cars? He's like, no, dude, I slang whips. And I was like, that does sound cooler. But and then
you sell me a car calling it that.
He lived in La Mirada, which is like an hour away. And his wife wasn't working. So he literally had to take care of a family and do all at the same time while going to school full time. I mean, there were times where that guy would sleep in his car because he would leave the school at 11 and he had class at 6. And the drive home was like an hour and a half. So then he would sleep on my floor. I never forget these moments where he would constantly sleep on my floor, for a couple quarters at a time, on certain days because he just didn't want to drive, and it put a strain on his relationship too. His wife's like, "You're not coming home. What are you doing?" And he's like, "I can't drive 2 hours and then drive, at 4 a.m, drive back here in traffic." He's like, "I'm just gonna stay at Kalen's place." Same thing with Jason, and a good parallel to that was his best friend Jason Hill, who didn't have those problems, where he was a young kid, single, and his parents were paying for his school out of pocket. So when he graduated, he didn't owe anything. But both are extremely successful, right? Even though Jason kind of had an advantage of not having to worry about money, like ever. Like his parents paid for everything, right? But does that make him spoiled? No. But Jason understood that he had a clear advantage, and he didn't squander it. And then Danny realized that he didn't have the right advantage. So he realized that he's had to work a little bit harder, but they're both successful. You know what I mean?
And they're one of the closest people I know.
And the closest
really close. They're really close, and it's like they're from different walks of life, and it's exactly right. And so it's like I would say to you, find a way. One of the more practical pieces of advice I can give you would be just write down your day by day in the most honest way you can. Like your day better than anybody else. Don't lie to yourself. Just put it down, and you'll find that there is time. There's absolutely time, and you just got. It might not be 7 hours straight, but it might be 7 hours amongst 3 or 4 days, right? But you can put that 7 hours in there, and the problem is that you're not, and that's what makes you feel guilty, or makes you feel bad, and so just put it in, wherever it may be, and however it may be. And you'll be surprised. In fact, it's one of the things, one of the main critiques that I've gotten recently about my whole Kickstarter is like, dude, you got time, and I'm like, you're right. And so I've been making time, like in a progressive way. Like this is the kind of advice I give to other people, and yet I wasn't taking it specifically for this. For everything else, I would I would be managing like my classes and trying to do sketches and streams. Like I say, hey, I got an hour, I can do it in a stream. And it's like anything that's worth doing, you can make time for, right? And so I think it's important that you respect that and realize that you don't need to have 7 hours straight or 8 hours or 10 hours straight to work super, super hard. In fact, I've been switching my mentality on this whole idea of hard work and really kind of retracting what that means, right? And I actually was thinking about putting an article together about this, where hard work, why? What's the purpose of it? You know what I mean? Really, why? And because again, it's been spun through our culture that you got to do it, right? To do whatever. And what I'm trying to get towards is that, yeah, you got to work for something, but you don't need to work as hard as you might think, Basically getting to the point where I'm trying to get people to work enough, if that makes sense, to accomplish their goals. Basically, what's the hurry kind of attitude and approach these days? Because I've seen a lot of evidence of people who work really, really hard. I've met some of the best people in this industry, and not all of them are extremely happy, okay? Which is really interesting. And so this is something that's, we kind of started the whole conversation with, and it's something that I'm working towards, having an answer for. But I don't know, I'm going to wait till after the surgery before I start taking that into account. But my point is that, there's a way, you just gotta, you don't want to be the majority, amongst the majority of people who talk about why they couldn't do stuff, right? You want to be amongst the minority of people who give reasons why they can do stuff, right? For every reason you say you can't, then that's another thing that's reality for you, because you're right. But for every reason you say you can, again, that's another reality that you can live with. So, yeah, like Kaylin was saying, there's different types of circumstances. Don't compare yourself to others. No one else is living your life. You're living your own. You know yourself better than anyone else. You know that some of what you believe is a problem is not really a problem, right? So just be honest with yourself and admit these types of things, and you'll be surprised how all of a sudden you went from someone who wasn't able to do a lot of these things to someone that is. That's it. It's really simple. Me?
All right.
All right, I can take one more, then I'm going to get going.
Okay.
Make it good. It better be the best one.
Okay.
Just kidding.
What brush?
Pressure's on, Mike.
What brush are you using? No, I'm just kidding.
A chisel brush. Done.
Done. It's over. No. Okay. Here's a pretty long one. It says, I'm currently in the game industry as a 3D artist and looking to move into concept and illustration. I'm taking the leap and quit my job. I'm taking the leap and quitting my job and can keep myself out of work for 6 months to practice. Do you have any tips or areas to focus on in order to maximize my progress over these 6 months? Any tips would be greatly appreciated.
He wants to be a concept artist just in general. I would say use your 3D experience to your advantage, like use 3D in your work, right? Like start to find a segue. There's a lot of really amazing like visual designers now that use 3D as their main staple. For instance, Vitaly Bulgarov, right? Like he's probably the best example I could think of. And you probably already know who he is. There's other people that do a really good job too. Like Justin Goby Fields is really good, right? There's a lot of good examples of people who use 3D as their main source of design, as a design tool, right? And so I would highly encourage, like taking advantage of that, because a lot of people don't have a really good strength in 3D, and they're always like, should I use it? I'm like, yeah, you should learn it, because it's a really powerful tool. And I'll say like mastering that, like that segue from 2D to 3D, finding how to paint over your 3Ds or making your 3D renders, like, because at this point, like, you won't need to have it be super clean or tight. It doesn't have to be like built at a certain resolution or topology, because you can just make it visual. You know what I mean?
Yeah, recognize the advantage that you have, because you know now how.
Wait, hold on, guys. Just give me 1 second. You can go ahead and talk. I'm gonna have to talk to my wife for a second.
Okay. Recognize the fact that being a 3D artist is actually extremely valuable to you, because you understand how the pipeline works for you. So you actually know 2 jobs. So when you get concept art, right, that's given to you, and you have to model it or texture it, whatever you have to do, now you can actually be your own boss. You can think of the things that concept artists don't do, and you can do it in your own work. And your work can be more efficient because you understand that entire pipeline. So use that knowledge in your work if you can, like at all times. And you'll find out that there isn't that much of a difference. Like I have some friends that are trying to do the same thing. They're like, I don't know if I can paint. And I'm like, dude, your job is a texture artist. I'm like, so what do you do all day at work? Paint textures? I'm like, so you already know how to paint. Like it's just all you have to do is kind of just shift that mindset a little bit differently. And I'm like, but the skills are there. So I think a lot of times you'd be surprised that you have the skills already to be a concept artist. You're just maybe not thinking of it in the right way. But utilize that knowledge of knowing the pipeline of games or film or whatever industry that you work in, and then use that to be a more efficient concept artist. I think some of the best concepts I've ever known have been 3D modelers, do have like a lot of 3D experience or started in 3D model experience, because they understand like how everything works and how to be most efficient. So use your tools, man. Don't knock them.
Yep. Well, that's it. That's it. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. Will,
Yep.
Mike, Kaylin. Great questions. Great commentary. Appreciate everyone who joined in and hung out with us. Y'all are awesome. Hope you guys enjoyed the painting too. I enjoyed doing it. This is straight out of the sketchbook. I had like a lot. I was like, whoa, these sketches are cool that I did in my sketchbook. And I was like, I'm going to take this into account. So I did this guy based off of what I saw. And I think I'll do more. Because I kept on drawing tumor monsters. I was like, I need to mix it up. Nothing wrong with tumor monsters. I love them. But I just keep doing them. But with that being said, guys, appreciate y'all. See you later. Talk to you soon.
Later.
Peace.
Peace. Yes. You guys will say bye or no?
Peace.
Bye.
Bye.
Say it.
I thought you already ended the Skype.
No,
All right.
I'm
Yeah.
about to end it right now.
I'm just kidding.
No.
All right, and then I'm gonna end the Skype after this. All right, see you guys.
Damn.